101, right?
We're starting right now. Welcome to the 101st episode of Sutton Impact Family Style, coming on to you the Monday after the AFC NFC Championship games. We know now it's Super Bowl.
Yeah, and let's start there. The worst non-call I've ever seen was yesterday. And it was the Saints game. It was ridiculous. I mean, he never looked at the ball. He ran through the guy. He hit him in the head. And he had grabbed him before that. I mean, it was like 3 fouls on one play.
And there was a ref in front of him, and
he was crazy.
Bizarrely. So I don't know who missed the game. Like, you had refs on both sides of that play, so I don't know who missed it.
Well, I'll tell you what. He said he fouled him.
I know the ref's excuse was he thought the ball was tipped. But I don't know. It seemed excessive. He lowered his helmet. He hit him. Like, everything about that play just seemed wrong. So,
I mean, he ran right through him. He never even looked at the ball. So where did the ref think the ball was tipped? At the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, which makes, you can't have pass interference if it's tipped at the line of the scrimmage. So,
well, I don't think you could tip a ball that's that far downfield. I would be shocked if somebody would have tipped it and the ball would have still went that far.
No, I think that was an excuse he came up after he got caught.
Yeah, I think he should get fired. I'm not going to. If you're the elite of the elite and you're selected to do a playoff game and that's what you do, you should get fired. No question.
Yeah.
Crazy. I don't understand it. And it definitely cost us. That's one of the few times when you see the game or you see a call missed and you say that cost my team a trip to the Super Bowl, because it really did.
It did. Like we were talking a little bit off air, though, I feel like the Saints, they settled for field goals on 2 consecutive possessions.
Yeah, you were questioning strategy. You thought they should have run the ball more.
And then I thought, at the end of the game, when they had after the Ted Ginn play, I think you run the ball all 3 downs, make the Rams use all of their timeouts. They'd have like a minute to go down the field and get the field goal, and you still get your field goal. They got a minute to go down and get it at that point with no timeouts. So maybe they can't be as Now they have to be a little, you can put Jared Goff in a situation where he's got to act a little harder, move a little faster. Maybe he makes a mistake. Maybe they don't get there. I mean, although that guy, I think he could have kicked that field goal from 70 yards. So
yeah, he punched that ball.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wish it was on NBC or whichever network shows you how far the ball would have traveled, because that thing was.
I heard somebody say it would have been good from 70.
I have no doubt. I mean, that was 53. And he cleared it solid by a good 15, 20 yards.
No question.
He was just insane.
So we both picked the Saints, right?
We picked both the home team. Or no, we picked the Saints and the Patriots because we're afraid to pick against Tom Brady.
Yeah. And, let's switch and talk to that game. Now, that game, I think, gets off to a bad start when you win the toss and you give Tom Brady the ball. And I just question that. And the Chiefs defense they played really well last week, but not yesterday. And if he thought maybe they were going to come out and play like that and shut Tom Brady down and fire it up, that's one thing. But if you got that dynamic of an offense, I would want to put my team up there and put Tom Brady behind. And then part of me is also thinking it's like 9 degrees. Tom Brady's 41 years old. Let him sit on the sidelines. Don't let him go right in the game. I mean, there's a lot of factors here for me.
Some of that makes sense. I mean, the Patriots always defer because they want to be able to make adjustments at halftime. And maybe you thought your fans were going to be loud and raucous. You'd maybe knock Brady on his ass early on and,
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, that offense did nothing for an entire half.
No. And I didn't like the risk of – because you figured the Patriots would come down and do something. I didn't like the risk of putting the kid behind in the game to start the game. Before he even touches the ball, he's behind. He's a young kid. I think that's too much to do. So I really question the whole way Andy Reid started the game yesterday. I think the second half of the game was fantastic. I think it was one of the best playoff games I've ever seen. I didn't like the result. But you have to walk away saying Belichick is absolutely the best coach of all time. Brady's the best quarterback of all time, because they win with guys you don't even know who the hell they are.
I know. And Cass, like Rex Burkhead guys that didn't work out for Bengals and things like that. So it's just, it's ridiculous. When you think about it, they played in 2001, almost 20 years ago, to win their first Super Bowl with the Brady Belichick era. And now they're playing the Rams again almost 20 years later. Like, that's
crazy.
crazy.
But that team has no drama. They all do their jobs. They all execute. And even when you change the core of that team by taking away their only legitimate deep threat with Josh Gordon, they adjust. But the funny thing is, I sat there, and every time Edelman went in motion, he got the ball.
Yeah. Well, Brady, I mean, they execute perfectly. Everybody's where they're supposed to be. Like, that's always been the thing on defense is like, you never have any guys freelancing. And we know as Steeler fans, you get a lot of guys that are sack happy. They'll leave their lane open to go, try and get around the tackle to get the sack, and the play goes right past them. So the Patriots don't do that. They don't beat themselves, and it's worked for 20 years.
No, and he's lost a lot of assistant coaches, gone on somewhere else and coached. I mean, I don't like him, but I got to give him the credit.
Yeah. You just have to. The one, I guess, silver lining, I'll spoiler alert, I'm picking the Patriots to win the Super Bowl, unsurprisingly. But maybe, just maybe, we lose Gronk and Brady in the same year because as much as Brady wants to play at least 45 or 50, as he said at different points, do you think if he wins this Super Bowl, wins his 6, ties Jordan for most championships, puts himself 2 ahead of Bradshaw, 2 ahead of Montana, like, is this where he walks away to spend some time with his family and eat avocado ice cream and avoid tomatoes?
I don't know. I think he legitimately loves to play, loves to compete. I don't think he walks away.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I mean, like I said, it would be a great story. I mean, he's going down in the history books no matter where, if he comes back for another year and if the wings fall off. But as people have pointed out, he's avoided major injury except for that knee injury like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He's never been, at least in he's never relied on his athleticism. He's slow. He's not a Patrick Mahomes with a cannon attached to his arm. He's got a good arm, obviously. But, as he said, Brady's like, he said, he's like, aren't you going to worry about your body slowing down in the cold? He's like, everybody's body is affected the same in the cold, but I still have my brain. And he does. And it's one of the
jersey was pure white at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. I mean, that team tied the Steelers for the most sacks during the course of the year, and they didn't come close.
In the Chiefs, you look at
they did come close once and had a very bad personal foul call where they didn't hit the head or hit the helmet. And
then you kind of wonder what happened to poor D Ford. One of their best players. He lines up offsides. Brady throws the pick. Maybe he doesn't line up offsides, and then just because we're talking about bad officiating, which happened all year, I don't know if Wes Welker, if Edelman touched that punt or not. But I didn't see anything in the footage that could make you turn it. I didn't see dramatic evidence to overturn that call.
Yeah, because it says you have to have. You have to have proof, unquestionable proof to overturn something that was called on the field. And they said they did, and I don't see how they did. But again, I was so fatalistic as I sat there yesterday. I just knew. I knew they were going to win, and I was convinced they would win. And even when Mahomes took him down, I looked at the clock, 2 minutes, way too much time.
Way too much time. But the Patriots left them time to tie it, and then, what do you think about the overtime rule, where if the first team that gets it scores a touchdown, the other team doesn't touch the ball?
I think you've got to give each team possession. I've always thought that. You fought for 60 minutes, give each team one possession, and after that, when somebody scores, that's it.
Because like we said, the Chiefs took a lot of time to get going, but once Mahomes, they blew up in that fourth quarter. And it was a shame they didn't get a chance to, at least possess the ball once in overtime.
No, it was terrible. I mean, that was as methodical as you can. And you kept hoping, okay, let's hold them to a field goal. And they just couldn't stop them.
No.
I'm sure they were exhausted. They were tired. And Brady had already figured them out. And they just kept doing the same thing he had done for 4 quarters.
Oh, yeah.
So let's move on to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
I don't think the Rams have a snowball's chance in hell.
No, not at all. I think Sean McVay's a very good coach, and I think they have a lot of talent, but I think Belichick is going to eat Goff's lunch with schemes and things along the lines he's going to do. And
he's got 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks, he could beat a rock. He can do whatever he wants to do. There's no way he doesn't win in 2 weeks. Unless it's a fluky play like he's lost the other Super Bowls on.
It's true. And then, the X factor obviously is Todd Gurley, who had 21 touchdowns during the course of the regular season and has missed significant time in every single game in the playoffs and has just not looked like Todd Gurley.
No.
I don't know what's wrong with him. Nobody seems to be saying anything. But he's got 2 weeks off. If Todd Gurley is Todd Gurley, that offense is a completely different machine. And Belichick's got some different things to deal with. But if Gurley is, what he's been in this playoffs and for these last few weeks of the season, I just don't think they have any chance whatsoever. So
I think much, much less of a game than much less of an opponent than the Chiefs. Nowhere near the threats, nowhere near the receivers skill-wise. You knew Belichick was going to take Tyreek Hill out of the game, and he did.
Which I thought was going to be tough because Tyreek Hill is such a unique player with all that speed. Like, it feels like he's one of the toughest players to take out of a game, and they did it.
Well, they double-teamed him when he went deep, and they beat him up on the line.
They did. And you have to wonder in that first half, it probably wouldn't have changed anything, but, you look back at, that's the Chiefs' third-string running back. And the guy they lost earlier in the season was one of the best running backs in football. And maybe they get a little, they do a little bit more in that first half with somebody like that. So. And speaking of that guy, the Bears have already expressed interest in him. And according to his agent, so have 11 other teams. And I read a blog post from a Pittsburgh writer who said the Steelers should bring in Kareem Hunt. So,
yeah, they get the money. They can bring in whoever they want to bring in.
Yeah. And they said he's been through counseling. But, I think Kareem Hunt's a good example of, like, how the NFL really feels about everything. Because Ray Rice was an easy person to get rid of. His video was obviously worse. But Ray Rice had averaged 3.1 yards a carry and was a 30-year-old running back. It was easy to say, we don't want you in our league anymore, Ray Rice. Whereas Kareem Hunt is a 23-year-old running back who was one of probably the 2 or 3 best running backs in the NFL, and there's teams lined up around the block to take him back, despite his video. And potentially, what else ever that domestic sort of stuff means. So I don't know what kind of look it is for the NFL, but at the same time, I don't know, like maybe he did go to counseling and everything's good now and whatever.
It's hard to say. They have people who are going to sit in judgment and make the decision. He's going to come back when they say he can come back, and this could be it.
Oh, and I have 2 more anecdotes from yesterday. The first is, did you see Tom Brady's quote when he walked into Kansas City's building?
No.
He stood there, looked at the camera, and said, "I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet."
I don't disagree.
You can't really disagree. And then something sort of sad happened. I fell for fake news. There was a fake Adam Schefter Twitter that said that Sean Payton had punched a referee in the tunnel, screaming, "You cost me the Super Bowl." And I believed it for a good 2 hours. And then I got to look again at the picture, and they had a fake, the little verification check on Twitter?
Yep.
It was a blue thing with a little squiggly white line. You know how the brain just sort of fills it in, but I don't know. It's just sad that it's already leaked into that too,
Yeah, I don't think this Super Bowl is going to set records for viewership or for ticket sales, price of tickets and everything. I just don't see it. The Patriots are good because as many people love the Patriots as hate the Patriots. And that's what you want. You want a team like that has love-hate. That usually drives the ratings up. I just don't know if the Rams are compelling enough to do that. I think the Saints would have been.
I think the Saints would have been. Plus, you do have some nice stuff, though. But with the Saints, you have, obviously, you would have had the 2 40-plus-year-old quarterbacks, the oldest quarterbacks, I assume, ever to play in a Super Bowl. I still think you have, you've got some good stuff, though. You've got the fact that 20 years ago, the Patriots won their first Super Bowl against the heavily favored Rams, who were the veteran team that everybody thought was going to win. And now you have Belichick versus, why can't I think of his name? He's been in the news constantly. The Rams coach, Sean McVay, who's like the young, new Belichick that everybody wants. The joke is that if you went to summer camp with Sean McVay, they'll hire you to be an NFL coach. And, and then on the other side, you got Jared Goff, a young, potentially up-and-coming quarterback. So, I think there's some good storylines, and it is the Super Bowl. So,
Well, I saw the early line today. The early line was the Rams are favored by a point.
okay.
And I was thinking I would take my house and bet that. I would bet everything I own and borrow some other things and bet those too. And bet on the Patriots. I just would.
Yeah. Like I said, I can't picture a way where the Patriots lose.
Unless it's a close game with a fluke. I mean, who would have thought Brady would throw 2 picks yesterday and still win?
And almost a third if the offsides call. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, I watched some NBA this week.
And what did you think?
I'm very impressed with Paul George.
Paul George has been playing out of his mind, but sadly, Russell Westbrook has been quite the opposite.
Russell Westbrook's shooting has really gone downhill this year.
He's never been
been
a bad shooter this year.
His 3-point shot is down. His free throws are down. His jump shot comes and goes. He drives to the hoop and gets fouled. That's about it. That's about what he does. But Paul George looks amazing.
To his credit, though, Russell Westbrook has done a much better job of getting his teammates involved. And, if he can avoid just a few of the things, a few of those early in the shot clock threes and some of those pull-up jumpers, I think it could really help him out a lot.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed watching him. I watched him hit that. Paul George hits a 4-pointer to win the game the other day.
Yeah.
3 points in the foul, and hit them all.
You have to wonder, because the year before he became a free agent and went to Oklahoma City, he had that just devastating leg injury.
Yeah, he did.
This is the first time since that injury he started to look like the guy we thought he was going to be. So, that injury was – I don't remember reading the medical aspects of it, but on TV, that was a gruesome thing to watch. I didn't know if I was ever going to see Paul George play basketball again after that, which, obviously since then we have, but I wasn't positive we were going to, so –
I was just reading one of my business moments today is the effect the secondary market this year, and the fact that a lot of people buy their season tickets and then they sell off the real high profile games and watch them on television, like whenever LeBron's playing or whenever Golden State comes. And in previous years, that's worked. But this year, the price of the Laker ticket when LeBron doesn't play, it drops 50%, and Golden State's down about 50%. So maybe people are tired of Golden State.
I suppose. You're still seeing incredible basketball, and now the chance for a fight
aren't going to pay the premiums they were paying last year. That's the difference.
Yeah. Well, I think there's U.S. economy issues too going into that aspect on some level. I'm sure there's got to be some this money is tight around the world. Like, I'm sure it's harder to spend a lot of money to go watch a basketball game.
Can't say that. I don't know. But it's just been going on. Still no Bryce Harper signing.
And you told me something just fascinating, that there's a rumor. Manny Machado and the Pirates.
Yeah, and I don't know who made it up. Maybe Manny Machado's agent. But how can you have a team with the lowest payroll commit to a Manny Machado type deal? Because nobody else wants to pay him.
No.
And the Pirates need shortstop, so that's the ones that the media or the hypers are going after, saying, well, this makes a lot of sense. It really doesn't make a lot of sense. They need a shortstop, but not one they're going to pay that kind of money to. That's just not who the Pirates are.
Especially because the Pirates are rumored to be trading Sterling Marte and Josh Harrison. So
yeah, is Josh Harrison a free agent? They don't have to trade him, right?
I think he's under contract for one more year, because they said they're in trades with the Reds, the Dodgers, and somebody else, according to the Bleacher Report.
The Angels were one and the Phillies were one.
Yeah.
So a lot of interest in Josh Harrison. It's smart. He's a player that can play. If you're a contender, he's somebody you want to have on your team. He can play infield. He can play outfield. He can pitch hit. He's fast. He's a good ball player.
Yeah, he hit over 300 a couple of years. He's a really good player. So It makes a lot of sense.
And he's a good citizen.
And a good citizen, which is really nice to see.
The Marte thing, I can totally, he really hasn't hit what the Pirates projected him to do.
No.
But he's still better than what they have. So I find it interesting. But, nothing surprises me. If the Pirates had a $30 million payroll by opening day, I believe it. I just don't like the owner. I don't like what he's trying to do. It'll show up with the fans, though. The fans will not support a mediocre team in Pittsburgh.
So that's what I was going to sort of bring up as our pseudo business moment. So we look at what the Pirates seemingly do every year, which is continue to trade away talented players to make their, and we've seen in Pittsburgh, like they're already the third team. The Steelers are obviously the best team. They're the team in Pittsburgh. That's the team everybody talks about. Everybody loves 365. The Penguins, who have been a very good organization, and Pennsylvania is a hockey place. I think they've moved ahead of the Pirates in Pittsburgh as far as
no question.
So if you're the Pirates, like you don't seem to be doing anything to bring people back. Because it seems like every time they start to make, I know they had the little runs with McCutcheon a couple of years ago, but it also seemed like even then they weren't willing to make that extra signing, spend that extra money to move into that next tier to really compete with everybody.
Yeah, that extra investment, whatever you're going to do. Yeah, I mean, it's true.
And we've seen the fans aren't going to go. So, and I know there's revenue sharing and TV deals and radio deals. So obviously they're still going to make money. But long term, what are you getting at it? If you're there, what happens with that? I guess I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, fans stayed away up to the tune of 300, 400,000 people last year. That's how much their attendance was down.
Yeah.
And they keep dropping these players off. It's going to, why would I go?
Right. I don't know people I know. You don't seem like you're trying to win. Why am I going to go to your games? And
I don't want to get attached to somebody because if I do, you'll get rid of them.
Right.
And that's your mother's opinion. I mean, your mother is still off the Pirates.
Yeah. And I don't really see another team that does that as poorly as the Pirates seem to be doing it. And I know it's easy to look because that's one of the teams I pay attention. I still peripherally pay attention to. It just doesn't seem like other teams are doing the same thing they're doing, because they obviously can't. You can't do that.
No, it's just one of those things. It's sad.
It's very sad.
Number one in college basketball, the University of Tennessee for the first time ever.
Yeah.
But, the fact there's been so many different number one teams this year and the parity, and I'm just hoping we get another story in March like Loyola last year and make it really fun and exciting and interesting.
And as fun as Zion Williams is, he's must-see TV. He's fantastic. But I know he was like the second recruit behind R.J. Barrett. R.J. Barrett was supposed to be the guy this year, remember?
Uh-huh.
And I have not been impressed with him or Cam Reddish. He was also another like top 6 recruit. Those are supposed to be like these 3 superstar freshmen. And I see it with Zion. Like, if I'm an NBA team, if I was running the NBA right now and those wonderful New York Knicks are tanking, if there was a way to get, Zion Williams in a New York Knicks uniform, I'd be pretty happy about that. Whether we go frozen envelope again or whatever we have to do. Throwing it out there.
So right now, who's in the running? The Cavs, the Suns, the Knicks, and who else?
We are forgetting somebody.
Yeah, there's 4 teams. Those 3 for sure.
Yeah. And the Knicks, I think, are doing it in the most interesting. Like the Knicks, they've sort of tried to resuscitate Noah Vondelay and Emmanuel Mudiay and these, former lottery picks. And, and they seem to be encouraging Kristaps Porzingis to take the rest of the year off.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like I said, it's the first time in a long time where I think you can kind of be excited as a Knicks fan. Not just because Dolan has hinted that he would sell the team for the right price, and I don't know if there is a right price for him. So maybe there isn't. Maybe that's just things he says to get people excited. But,
well, too many people walking around with $5 billion.
Yeah. But,
it makes it tough.
It makes it tough. But if you hear all the rumors right now, which is an unhappy KD thinking about, where if KD really wanted to make his legacy at this point, he's got to go somewhere and win where it's his own team. And if he went to an historic franchise like the Knicks, and it was him, Chris Bosh, Kevin Knox, maybe disgruntled Kyrie Irving, and a lottery pick, That's an exciting team to watch if you're the Knicks. And if you're just an NBA fan in general, you know?
My watch just told me that Melo is now a Chicago Bull.
No, they've already waived him, though.
The Bulls waived him?
Yeah.
Okay, so Houston traded him there, and then the Bulls waived him.
Yeah. So he's a free agent to go sign anywhere, wherever anybody would want him.
What did Houston get out of this?
I think they got a salary dump because Houston is still looking to add a player here or there. And I think they just need to get away from – even while Melo wasn't going to make much money, I think Houston's doing a lot of stuff to free up some space to bring in somebody to go along with James Hardy's 40 points a game.
Well, let's move over to entertainment for a little bit.
Let's do it.
So let's talk True Detective.
I think as we talked about last week, the special effects and makeup on this show are just out of this world. I know it's a weird thing to bring up first, but the way they're aging these characters on that show is just so good.
And, it's effective in that, you would think playing over 3 different decades would be confusing. But it's really not.
No.
I'm very surprised.
And Ali is doing an amazing job playing the older person. Is somebody going with, sort of, what like a little bit of, they haven't really discussed it, but it seems like Alzheimer's maybe or memory loss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I thought his performance has just been outstanding.
I like both of the detectives. I think they've both done a really good job.
Yeah.
And they've done everything they could to make Arkansas look like the least glamorous place on the face of the earth.
Which it's not far from. No offense, Arkansas listeners.
It's this natural wonder state. I think Arkansas's got some better things to offer than what they've shown on TV.
It's true. Well, they did shoot it in Louisiana too, so.
But it's again that writer picks places that are pretty interesting.
And I think this case is pretty interesting too. Like I'm interested to see what happens. Obviously, it's got me hooked. So it doesn't feel as epic as the season 1 case as of right now.
No, but I have no idea where it's going.
And I think I've been listening to The Flat Circle, which is a True Detective podcast where they sort of recap everything in about 20 minutes after the episode's air.
Okay.
And they seem to imply that each season it's episode 4 where things really start to get rolling.
The 18-episode season.
What's that?
I think there's 18 episodes.
There's 18 episodes this year?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my bad. I thought there was like 10 like normal. Okay.
No, and I thought that too. Do you realize the other ones were all 15 to 19?
No, they weren't.
Yeah.
I thought they were all 10 to 12, maybe.
I thought so too. Mom looked it up.
Well, okay. But maybe things will get going. I mean, I think the case has got to pick up a little bit more momentum. Like we've seen little bits and pieces, but and obviously you should watch the show if you're into sort of darker crime fiction. It's definitely worth watching.
It's absolutely good. It really one of the best shows ever on TV. The writer is tremendous. The screenplay is tremendous. The setting, the storyline, the character development, it's all there. Really, really fascinating. It's the fastest hour on television.
But to be fair to the average person out there, it plays on the screen more like a book than a movie or a TV show. There's a very deliberate pacing and a slow build, so you're going to have to,
Yeah.
I love that. You and I both have always enjoyed that, but I know some people out there, it's at least a little heads up for them just in case they're not ready for the slow potential build.
Good point. And Jason, I want to talk a little bit about this format that we want to try starting in February.
Let's hear it.
Since we have our new technology, I talked to Jason about this, and I think what we're going to do for our sport business moment is we're going to try and have a guest at least twice a month, if not every episode, to talk about some aspect of their sport business. So we will bring in a variety of people from the industry, and I think it'll really help our show.
I agree. I think it'll be great. I mean, because we'll consistently have more of the Sport Business Minute to open up the show like we used to. We'll still obviously do the entertainment.
We'll still do that, but then we'll definitely have our guest on And then we hope then that people, if we announce our guest, we're hoping that our listeners are going to send us some emails or text in or do something so that we can get some questions that are important to our listeners and get those answered.
We would love to have that, yes, without a doubt.
Good food moment this week?
I went back to Central City Barbecue again, and it was excellent again. I don't know what else to say. The chopped brisket, phenomenal. Ribs, great. And the burnt ends are as good a burnt ends as I've ever had.
All right. So maybe that's my Thursday night when I come to town.
They did change their French fries into a very weird. Now they have it's almost like a thin cut French fry.
Like a shoestring French fry?
If you took like a steak fry, right? And sliced it into like 4 French fries long ways, they're like that.
Okay.
So I've never seen that before. It's very odd. But, and they have really good sauce, a spicy and a sweet. I don't eat the vinegar one, but it's really good barbecue. I don't know what else to say.
All right. And when I left LA, I did do Lowry's and I did do the Grill again, which I both talked about on the show before, but they're still 2 of my all-time favorite places. We have a tendency that if we really like something, we go back and back and back and back.
Yes. And as a tall person, those that know me, I'm 6'4". I have really long legs. I found this brand called Public Rec, and they make. I wore them out to dinner with you. They make it's almost like
a Lululemon,
like a dress pant, sweat pant, if you will.
Yeah.
But it's got nice deep pockets. They're good for working out, and like I said, they look nice enough. You can wear them, out with like a shirt, and nobody can really tell the difference. But what I love them as a tall person is they have 36 length. So I had to give them a special shout out because 36 length is very rare.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see companies that have that. So if you're a tall person, you need tall people pants, Public Rec.
Anything special coming up? This is kind of a quiet week in sports coming up.
I would say it's a very quiet week. We get the Pro Bowl, which, still does incredible ratings despite the fact that everybody says they don't watch it.
I don't watch it.
No. And I think we have the NBA trade deadline is February 7th. So maybe we'll see something happening.
Maybe we'll see something there. Hopefully this MLB thing, storylines continue to develop or continue to finalize themselves. The All-American, the Alliance of American Football premieres on February the 9th. And I will tune in that day to see what I think about the new product.
Maybe next week we will have, stay with me now, a professional wrestling moment. Mainly because there's a very interesting thing business-wise happening right now. There's All Elite Wrestling, which is being funded by the son of the Jacksonville Jaguars owner.
Okay.
And All Elite Wrestling is a number of guys from New Japan Wrestling and a bunch of guys that have created their own brand beyond the WWE. And the WWE is so scared now they're offering all their people they're like, if anyone offers you money, come back, we'll double it. And they already put on All Elite Wrestling in New York City, and they did it in Vegas, and they sold out and it's supposed to be like a better quality wrestling, and it's a little bit more, it's the wrestlers that are putting it on themselves. And it looks like it could be a real competition for the WWE. So I'll do a little more research and have some numbers for you. But the fact that they're funded by a billionaire shows you, that they're very serious. So it's pretty exciting business-wise.
That's kind of interesting. Let's follow through, see where it goes.
Yeah. And they're guys that basically made their brand from both wrestling, around the world and, New Japan and some of these other leagues. But they also made it through YouTube, having their own All Elite show where they would go on and do their own comedy sketches and interact with fans and do all this sort of stuff. And they built themselves into these sort of global wrestling people, and they've done it without the WWE, which is very rare. So it's a very interesting business model. And I'm interested to see if they're able to take it somewhere, to be actual competition for the WWE. So there's that.
Well, also this week I'm gonna be really paying attention to the NFL to see how they position this. I saw them floating ideas today about that Bill Belichick had always thought instant replay for pass interference calls was a very important idea. So maybe we're going to see this now.
Yes. And I know
It
you
seems
want
like
me
whenever there's a
I think
major gaffe,
yeah. Well, I still
they
think
do.
the problem is the process of instant replay. It should be much faster than it is. Everyone that's watched it on TV's made their decision up in the first 15 seconds. There's no reason it should take 4 minutes to recover the call. And if you have a faster replay system, I think you can incorporate things like this. And like I said before, you send all the replays go to New York. You have an ex-player, an ex-ref, and somebody else in the booth, and they have a red button and a green button. They make the call, goes right back, and that's the way it is. None of this 5 minutes of walking around, talking with a headset, putting your head under a rabbit. It's archaic. It takes too long, and it's a waste of time. Said my piece.
There you have it.
Yeah. It should be a much faster process. It should never last longer than 60 seconds, is my opinion.
Our solution.
Yes.
All right. Well, we will be back on Sunday night next week.
Yeah.
And we'll hopefully have some more news about our new format.
All right. Enjoy your trip. You're about to fly out. So
head to Philly.
And again, thank everybody that's continued to listen. Good new things coming. We have the new format, new technology, better sound. So hopefully we're rewarding you for supporting us. Thank you.